I'm Sophie Zillman, the host and owner and CEO of Sophie's Zone Next Level Business Support. I am coming to you live today on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and you'll see the replay, or I'll hear the replay on all the podcast apps out there that you choose to listen to it on. I'm excited for today's topic because we're going to talk about boundaries. Better boundaries lead to better business. Now, why do we need to talk about boundaries? Because, for one, life happens and you need to be in it and prepared to do what you want and need to handle things that come up when life happens. And you need to be able to take care of yourself with self care regularly, fun times, and real vacations where you're fully unplugged. Boundaries allow you to create time and space for the things that matter in life, in business, and in fun and family and all of those things. So here today I'm gonna do 5 tips that to help you set boundaries to be able to create that time and space we talked about, because you need to be able to deal with life when it happens, whether that's the dog throwing up on your office floor, like in my house, that happens on occasion, or heaven forbid somebody becomes very ill, or daycare calls and the kids need to come home because there's an outbreak of something there, chicken pox, whatever, and you're going to have your children home while you work. And then, of course, there's anything else in between. Plus, as a part of taking care of yourself, which means you are in a better space mentally, emotionally, physically, to be able to deal with life, run a business, have the life you desire, you need an amazing self care routine. And of course, with the right boundaries and all of that, you can finally plan that dream vacation, whether it's me going to England for the Warner Brothers Studios Harry Potter tours, or your dream vacation, whatever that may be, laying on the beach in Tahiti, going to Australia and having a nice Aussie experience. It all just is, it opens up the door for you to do the things you want and desire in life and your business. So, first, your personal time is important and you should protect it. That is why we set boundaries. So you've got to have that personal time because there needs to be a break from business and personal. Now, while they do intertwine in many ways, there is some separation that needs to happen. So remember, we're setting boundaries because your personal time is important and you got to protect it. 2, your family matters more than your business. Yes, it really does. So don't miss out because of work. Don't work 24/7 so that you can't watch the soccer game, you can't go to ballet, you can't do all the things that a family should and can do together. You need to enjoy life because part of the reason, at least most of us, started the business is to have that time and space for family, for fun, for all the things I'm talking about today. And with creating that business, you've got to have those boundaries. 3, your business is not going to blow up overnight, generally speaking. I mean, occasionally there can be that thing that happens that causes a crisis, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the business. If it's not really an emergency, don't treat it as one. Redefine what a fire is in your business, because your definition of a fire is probably different than my definition of a fire. And we don't want to run our businesses from the fireman perspective, always there to put out fires, always putting out fires. Set the boundaries and do the things that need to be done to create as few fires and emergencies as possible. Now, of course, we all know stuff happens. That's what this is all about. Life happens, business happens, but at least you have what it takes to be able to have the time and space to deal with it, or to go, you know what, this can wait till tomorrow. And 4, setting your work hours isn't a crime. It really isn't. It is okay to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, if that's what you desire. I know a lot of us got out of the 9 to 5 world to set our own boundaries. So, our own time, our own schedule. So, that is a part of a boundary. That is a part of setting boundaries. you need to have work hours, and they can be flexible and they can be different every single day. Yes. So you could work 9 to 5 on Monday, and on Tuesday, you could work noon to 8. On Wednesday, you could get up at the butt crack of dawn and work until noon. I mean, you literally can set your own hours, but the point here is set your hours. Don't respond or send emails outside of those work hours unless absolutely necessary, because not only are you setting boundaries for yourself and you want people to respect your boundaries, but you're respecting your colleagues, your clients, your whoever's time and boundaries as well, because unless it is a true emergency, it can wait. And any client, any colleague, any team member will know that they're sending an email at 10 o'clock at night and not expect an answer unless it's an emergency. And if it's an emergency, I would think you're doing something other than emailing, because not everybody watches their email 24/7. So, setting work hours, setting that boundary, and honoring it for yourself, your team, and your clients, the people you surround yourself in life and business, is very key and will allow for you to have the bandwidth, the headspace, and all that you need to run the business during business hours and to go have fun, self-care, whatever, after business hours. And last, if this is not already a well-known no-brainer fact, working around the clock leads to one thing: burnout. Boundaries protect your physical and mental health too. Because if you're setting boundaries and only working certain business hours and only allowing people to talk to you and do things that do things during business hours unless absolutely necessary, you're going to go crazy. You're going to burn out. You're going to be in that hustle grind mode. And hustle grind mode doesn't really work for most people. Now, some people it does because they can thrive on that kind of energy. But for the most part, especially people like me and people I surround myself with, we like boundaries. We like having time off. We like protecting our physical and mental health and taking care of our physical and mental health, because ultimately, if you're not in your best health mentally, physically, emotionally, etc., you're not going to be able to perform well in your business. You're not going to be able to deliver amazing services or products to your clients. You're not going to be able to grow the business to whatever level that is, a million, multi-millions, and beyond, without absolute death-defying burnout and no fun. Because if it's not fun, why are we doing it? Why are we spending time on that as our business? If it's not fun, if it's not enjoyable, and if it's not consuming every waking moment or keeping us awake at night, it's really important to protect all that. So setting and sticking to boundaries are two different things. It's actually a whole nother podcast episode, to be honest. But to sum it up and to wrap up this episode, I would say, remember, you got to set the boundaries and then you got to keep the boundaries. And to be able to set and keep boundaries, that means you need the systems, the team, and the general support from other people like mentors or coaches and cheerleaders. Yes, you need cheerleaders in your life, whether that be your family, your spouse, your friends, colleagues, whatever it is. You have to be surrounded by the people and set up the systems to be able to have these boundaries and actually honor them for yourself. So it's time to build that team if you don't already have one. It's time to get the systems and SOPs and operations all lined up in your business and delegated to the appropriate people so they can handle it when you're not there. And it's time to make sure you have the plan, the strategy, and everything you need to be able to do this with ease and grace, time and space. That's how I'm going to be spending my time in my business and my life. And I hope that you will too. And it does, boundaries play a huge part in that. And then, of course, living to those boundaries, because you've set up the systems, you've got the team. You can hire one at a time. You can find the all-in-one plug and play team that just jumps in and does all things in your marketing, your operations. And don't forget management, because it's one thing to hire a bunch of people to do the work, set up the systems, etc. But if you're still managing them, tasking them, making sure they're getting it done, you're still taking away from those boundaries. You're still taking away from the things that are important to you, that allow you to have a business during certain hours and have a life outside of it. So that about wraps it up today. If you're interested in an all-in-one team that plugs and plays into the back of your business, or hiring one by one, either way, let's chat. You can comment below, you can DM me, or you can go to my website, check it out, and book a free call and talk to me about what you want to set for boundaries and how we can help you do that. So thanks for stopping by today. Thanks for listening, and I will see you all next week.